God morning, you guys. It is August 8th. God calling, empty yourselves and got it even tide. Let's see what it is. No hurt. Ooh, let's get into it. Sorry, guys. It's a little bit of a storm out today, so we're going to be inside. We can look at this beautiful picture of, what is it, like macaroni and cheese being pushed down in a hydraulic press? What is that? What do you guys see? Anyways, August 8th, God calling, empty yourselves. Rely on me alone. Ask no other help. Pay all out in the spirit of trust that will come to meet your supply. Empty your vessels quickly to ensure divine supply. Guys, if we're so full of things that aren't God, if we're so full of things that are not of Him, not of His design, not of His desire for us in our lives, right? Whether it's knowledge, whether it's some physical thing, whether it's like anything, if we're replacing anything with something that isn't God, then God's not going to be able to fill us up. Think about it. Think about like my cup overflows, right? If our cup is already full of all this knowledge that we think is right, or these physical elements that we're putting in our lives to help prop us up or give us some sort of purpose, right? Then how is God ever supposed to put what is actually correct in our hearts? How is He going to put the proper desires, the proper lifestyles, like the just that spirituality into our hearts if our cup's already full? He would try to pour it in and it would just overflow right back out. There'd be no room. So we have to empty ourselves. We have to empty our old ways to look at the world, our old ways of doing things, our old processes, our old mental states, and just replace it with God's divine supply. That's the only way we can do it, right? So much retained by you, so much the less will be gained from me. So much retained by you, so much the less will be gained from me. The more that you listen to yourself, the more that you bring your own wants, feelings, and desires into yourself, into your own body, the less that you're going to have God in you, right? It is a law of divine supply. It's simply the supply and demand. The more demand you have for worldly things, for selfish things, the less demand you're going to have for godly things, and the less supply you're going to have to even take those things in. You can't have one without the other. You can't have your cake and eat it too. To hold back, to retain implies a fear of the future, a want of trust in me. Guys, if you have fear, right, if you have anguish, that is not God. You do not have God in your heart to the fullest extent that you can, right? Because having that faith in God, having that full faith, that full love, that full trust in the Lord comes with knowing that you're God, with knowing that you're supported, with knowing that no matter what happens, you'll always have someone on your side, that you'll always have God, and everything that has happened to you is only for your benefit, only for your positive, right? So if we do have fear, we do have anxiety, that's us pushing God away, that's us blatantly looking at God and saying, you're not good enough for me, I don't have enough trust in you, I need to now trust these other things, I need to use my own power, right? And that's unacceptable. When you ask me to save you from the sea of poverty and difficulty, you must trust wholly to me. If you do not, and your prayer and faith are genuine, then I must first answer your prayer for help as a rescuer to that of a drowning man who is struggling to save himself, right? God's not going to look at you struggling, right? And then if you're calling out to Him, if you want more Lord in your life, if you need Him, if you desire Him, right? No matter for the reason, right? But the reason He says here is financially, which is a huge thing, which is a huge problem that gets in the way of our relationship with the Lord. Because we're like, how could God supply me with money? How could He do this? How could He move my life in this direction? It's like, if you have full faith, guys, God will do amazing things to you. No matter how hard you're struggling, the moment you cry out in prayer to Him, He will be there to rescue you, right? But if you're just struggling and you're trying to tread water, you're looking around, what can I grab onto? What can I do? How can I use my own power? You're going to drown because your own power isn't good enough. He renders him still more helpless and powerless until he is wholly at the will and mercy of the rescuer. So understand my leading. Trust wholly. Trust completely. So God's saying that you can struggle as long as you want, but the moment you finally give up and succumb to God's power, you're going to give up 100%. The moment that you finally realize that you cannot do these things on your own, that your power does not stem from you, you're just going to like go limp and just it's just going to be an amazing moment of just like God coming over your life, because you're going to realize that like genuinely whatever you do, however you do it, is not going to be on the level of God, that the way God can support you, the way God can supply you, right? Just like someone struggling in the water, that's what He's saying here. If you're struggling in the water and you're trying to tread water, right, and all you're trying to do is stay up, right, it's going to be so difficult for you. But then the moment someone throws you a life raft, you're going to put your body on it and you're going to relax fully, and you're going to know that you're safe, right? Empty your vessel, I will fill it. You ask both of you to understand divine supply. It is the most difficult lesson for my children to learn. So dependent have they become on material supply. They fail to understand. You must live as I tell you. Depend on me. Let me read that one more time. I'm not going to break it down. I'm just going to read it one more time slowly. Empty your vessel. I will fill it. You ask both of you to understand divine supply. It is a most difficult lesson for my children to learn. So dependent have they become on material supply, they fail to understand. You must live as I tell you. Depend on me. God even tied no hurt. We have a quote. He that overcometh shall not be hurt by the second death. The first death is the death of self, the result of overcoming, of self-conquest. This is gradual death. When it is complete, the second death shall cause no hurt, for it is only the conquering spirit slowing away its human habitation for a better life. Right? So God's saying there's multiple kinds of death. There's multiple kinds of hurt that goes on. The first death is the death of self, right? The result of overcoming of self-conquest. This is a gradual death. So this is the death of getting rid of your selfishness, right? When you're a baby, when you're little, you're so pure, but you're so reliant on others that you have to be selfish. You have to say, you have to cry the moment you pooped your pants. You have to cry when you're hungry. You have to do all these things that take up other people's time is selfish. And the older you get, the more you should understand that selfishness is not going to get you anywhere. So that first death is the death of self, is the death of only looking at your own power, right? This is obviously the processes of coming to God. When it is complete, the second death shall cause no hurt, for it is only the conquering spirit slowing away its human habitation for a better life. So first death is the death of self, is the death of selfishness, self-preservation, just only looking at yourself. The second death is the death of your, not body, not physical body, but your spiritual body, right? The second death is the death of you relying on material things, you relying on the world, right? And not selfishness, but reliance, right? And then realizing that the only thing that truly matters is spirit. So it's the death of needing to acquire all these things, needing to build a better, needing to do all these different things for yourself, right? Needing this car, this house, these accolades, right? That's the second death. The courage of my martyrs showed was not only fearlessness, endangered, engendered, what the heck? I've never seen a word before. Engendered in time of persecution through faith in me and in my power to support and sustain. It was consequent on the overcoming of self already achieved, self having truly died. The second death had no hurt for them. Theirs was then the risen life with me. So God's saying that second death, it won't be difficult. The moment that you have that first death, the second death is only a matter of time, and it will not be difficult. That second death is the death of your material self, right? So finally come unto God. And it's going to be the most beautiful, amazing thing in the world, guys. So today, the overall takeaway from today is that these things that you think matter, right? They don't matter. And why do they not matter? Because God is going to support you, because God is going to be there for you, because as long as you put it in God's hand, they will be solved, right? You have nothing to worry about. So do not continue stressing. Do not continue living this life of stress, overindulgence, selfishness, right? When you're going to give it up anyway, right? You're going to give it up. That's just part of your path. You're going to give it up to God. So give it up to God today. You're going to die in two different ways. You're going to die selfishly. So die selfishly today. You're going to die physically, so die physically today, right? Not like actually physically, but you're going to finally succumb to Jesus. So I'm just telling you guys that the overall lesson today is to truly understand what it is to live this life, what things matter, what things don't, and what power you need to have over things. You have power over yourself. You control yourself. You control the things that you do, right? The things that you think, the things that you say, the way you treat people, right? But you don't need to control every situation. You don't need to control the things that you think you need to control, the things that you think you need power over, right? Just give that up to God, okay? I love you guys so much. That is August. What was that? That was August 8th. And with that, I will say amen.